Hello, welcome to Commander Solo. I'm your host, Morgan Westcliff. This is a brand new Commander Magic experiment. I am going to be playing 4 decks against each other, all by myself, thus Commander Solo. And I have devised a 16 deck field for a tournament. This is what I am guessing slash with some of this experience played out on Mox Field and just by hand myself with other various decks over time. This is what I believe, I'm getting close so you can hear me actually over my child's banging in the background, what I believe to be my 16 best decks. So here I have a sheet of information. Commander Solo Tournament Pool A. We have the 1 seed deck, Bond for Glory, which you may have guessed has Kinnan Bonder Prodigy as the commander, versus the 5 seed Omnath Engine Go Choo Choo. He's not a locomotive, he's a locus of creation. And then we've got the 9 seed Multi-Typal. I haven't come up with a better name yet. It's got 2 commanders: Tana the Bloodsower, Silas Wren, Seeker Adept. And last but not least, the 13 seed, really more because it's not been tested as much. It might be a little bit of an upset potential here, because I think it can go infinite. Anyway, yeah. Those are your 4 decks for your Pool A portion of Commander Solo Tournament. And they're going to be playing 3 games against each other, rounds 1, 2, and 3, you see laid out below there. And the worst performing deck throughout those 3 games will be eliminated from the tournament. And the top 3 will move on. There will be some different kinds of things to affect how you are ranked out of those 3 rounds. Obviously winning, like being the last deck on the table still alive, life points or whatnot, over 0, that's going to be a significant factor. There being only 3 rounds, 1 deck at least will have 0 wins. If perhaps a deck goes off more than 1 game and wins multiple games within this pool, then there will be 2 decks, or even potentially 3 if somebody wins all 3 games, with 0 wins, right? And then the other criteria will include things like, did you kill a player off? Did you do something like a Kingmaker situation? Did you significantly affect the game in some way? And if none of those things come out to help figure out who should be eliminated or not, perhaps then, like, okay, this person was killed first, this person was killed second, this person was killed third in round 1, in round 2, the same person was killed first, in round 3, the same person was killed first. Well, I mean, that'd be pretty obvious, I think. You'd be out. Okay, so we're going to roll some dice. We've got this guy here for Omnath, this one for Kinnan, this one for Athreos, God of Passage, and this one for Silas and Tana. So we'll roll them up, and whoever gets the highest will go first. Here we go. Ooh, we got a roll-off right off the bat, 12v12. So Omnath might be going first, or Athreos, God of Passage, will be going first. Neither one the worst for the other. And it's Omnath. Alright. It's going to be fun. Here we go. We're going to experiment with some different camera positions. Again, I'm doing this all solo. So I'm the camera person, camera operator, as well as deck builder, and player for all of these decks. I have already shuffled and cut each deck, so you don't have to sit through watching that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've drawn 7 cards, and this is really an unplayable hand. I have house rules for Commander. The way it works for mulligans. If your first hand is no good, there are a few different reasons it can be no good, right? Mostly relating to how many lands you have versus what your casting cost cards are in your hand. This first hand has a land that comes into play tapped and requires a land to be bounced. One of those bounce lands, the Garrison, Boros Garrison. And the other is Maze of Ith. Doesn't make mana. So, not good to start. It's a little bit of a bummer because I also had Exploration, which is a great first turn card in this deck, but not worth playing with this situation. Okay, so my house rules for mulligans. If you have 0 lands, if you have 1 land, and for Commander if you have 2 lands, you set that hand aside, okay, and you draw a fresh 7. Now, there's also my hand is just terrible, and you can set it aside and draw a fresh 7. Ideally, within any one game, you only use 1 of each of these types of mulligans. 1 for 0 lands, 1 for 1 land, 1 for 2 lands, 1 for just crap. But think about that, right? Like if you draw a 1-land hand, or in this case a 2-land hand, it's just unplayable. That's my 2-land mulligan, right? I set it aside. If I draw another 2-land hand that's just unplayable, I could set it aside as my freebie mulligan, right? In this particular case, I'm not going to be doing that. This is a playable hand. It's not awesome, but I am not willing to make my opponents sit around all day while I look for the best hand. I will now reshuffle, and we'll move on to the next player while I do that. Alright, the second deck, player 2, if you will, in this matchup, is the dual commander 4-color multi-typal is what I've called it. It's focused on making lots of tokens, and it has a variety of like Lord kind of effects, and it wants to turn everything into like zombies and saprolings, and then it can go infinite with like sack triggers and stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have a playable 7. Here we go. Moving on. I don't have to do any mulligans. We'll just go straight into the next player. No pausing. Alright. This is the Athreos God of Passage deck. I call it Bolts from the Bin. It's really designed to sack and or just have small creatures die and then have Athreos bounce them back to hit somebody for 3. Like a lightning bolt straight out of the graveyard. That's the name origin. Alternatively, it can, if it gets the right set of cards out, it can like threaten to lightning bolt somebody to death, and then another player can be getting milled with Altar of Dementia in this like infinite loop of death trigger lightning bolt. Like, oh, you don't want to take 3 damage because you're only at 10, kind of a thing. So. And this player has drawn a playable hand as well. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Boom. Moving on to our 1 seed, going last in round 1. Okay, and here we are, the 1 seed, drawing hand 1. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. This deck, I think it can go infinite as early as turn 2. We're not going to do that this game, but at least not based on what I see right now. I could draw Sol Ring and then Basalt Monolith. That might... No, I don't think I can do it. Anyway, don't tell the other players that this one is not going to go infinite that fast. Also, maybe do so that they don't kill me. Right, okay. Moving on to actual gameplay, turn 1. Omnath, taking it away. Alright, drawing for turn 1. And we are gonna drop down the Katria Triome. Comes into play tapped. And see it on the board. I only have 3 playmats as an individual person, which means the lowest seed deck in each round plays straight on the table, risking the cards. But not really, because they're in sleeves. Moving on, player 2, first turn. Okay, turn 1, I draw. Oh, let's start a turn tracker die. We'll use our trusty dragon mug, hand painted by yours truly. We'll get a die out. This is turn 1. Yeah, still just turn 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. I did draw for turn. And I am going to drop down this Watery Grave tapped. Oh, I should show. Ding! Watery Grave. I don't have anything to play with it this turn. I'm not going to pay 2 life to not play anything. Pass. Alright, Athreos. Turn 1. Going to put down Plains. Tap it. And cast a Sol Ring. And in addition, I will play a Tormod's Crypt. I don't mind revealing that and putting it out on the board early. It kind of lets people know I'm going to mess with their graveyard if I want to. And, is somebody going to destroy it? I don't think anybody here is playing a graveyard strategy exactly, so I don't think it's going to have a target on its head, but it also, better they destroy that than my Sol Ring, right? Okay. Pass. Alright. The 1 seed taking their first turn in round 1 of the Commander Solo Tournament. Drawing for turn. And we will play this Shiny Forest. And pass. And at this point, I've decided the amount of time I spend changing shirts in between chairs isn't worth it. You're going to see the messy transitions. It'll actually make the process go faster. Omnath, taking turn 2. Turn, die, rotated. Drawing for turn. And I'm going to play Halimar Depths. Comes into play tapped. Halimar Depths. Comes into play tapped, and when it does, enter the battlefield, E to the B. When an E to the B's, I get to look at my top 3, and then I can put them back in any order. And those are solid. We want them, we want them like that. Man, I want all those cards, but it's going to be hard to actually get through to them before I want to do other stuff, I feel like. But I can cast things. Okay. Yep, we're going to do it like this. And moving on to the next player. I untap, and I draw my card for turn. And based on the fact that there are 2 colors there, 2 colors there, and 4 colors there, between all of you I get access to all the colors. I'm going to play Exotic Orchard. I do not have enough mana to cast anything, and so I pass. Athreos untaps, draws, has a plane, fancy swamp. And we're going to tap 3 Sol Ring and Plains. Dink dink. And we're going to cast the Command Sphere. Commander's Sphere. Commander's Sphere. And that's a pass. In the background, you might be hearing my child. They are a little young for playing Magic yet. Or perhaps this would not be called Commander Solo. Drawing for turn 2 for Bond for Glory. Kinnan, Bonder Prodigy, at the helm. And we will play an island, shiny. And we will pass turn. This is often how it goes, although Athreos is kind of blown up. They have ramped and they have Graveyard Threat on the board. Here we go to turn 3 for Omnath. They've untapped, draw a card. I knew that was coming, and it was still kind of like a fun surprise, in a way. And then we will put down this Plains. I will tap it immediately to cast a Sol Ring. And I will also tap that right away. Along with the Katria Triome. Tapping it for a green. And I'm going to make some friends by casting Rites of Flourishing. Rites of Flourishing allows everyone to draw an extra card at the beginning of their draw step and to play an additional land on each of their turns. Which, that is, in case you didn't know, more or less what this Omnath deck is about. And now Omnath will put down a Field of the Dead. Comes in tapped. Most of you probably already know. Once I get a couple more lands on the board, I gotta make a zombie every time I put a land on the board. That'll be good. Okay. That's my second land. I can't cast anything else. Passing. Turn 3 on to the multi-typal deck. Drawing for turn. Well, that's pretty good. In this deck, we like having that. I'm gonna put down this Unclaimed Territory, and when I put it down, I'm going to say Elves, or Elf, as my creature type. And then I'm going to tap it for colorless, this and this as well, tapping total of 3, including a blue. And I'm going to play Arcane Adaptation for Elves. So now everything in the deck is an elf, creature-wise. Alright. Then I am going to pass. Athreos, God of Passage, turn 3, draw. Ooh. I will play this Plains, and I will cast an Ornithopter. Okay. Then I guess 1, 2, no, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I feel like I'd want to do this with Athreos on the board. But I'm going to cast Sidisi, Undead Vizier. Any responses out of anybody? I don't think so. I don't think anybody has any instance they can cast right now. So, Sidisi, Undead Vizier. It is a 4/6 zombie Naga with Death Touch and Exploit, which means when it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature. When it exploits a creature, you get to Demonic Tutor. So, I'm going to sack the Ornithopter, boop, and search for something slick to put in my hand. And while I do that, I'm going to pause the filming so that I can replace the battery in the camera. As is the case with most people who play Magic, I've already made some mistakes. I realized that the Rites of Flourishing that Omnath played affects everyone. Hello. So I did go back and draw that extra card for each player. The multi-typal deck with 2 commanders drew a Savage Lands and played it as their second land for turn, because you draw an extra card and you play an extra land. And then the Athreos deck also drew an extra card, which happened to be a swamp that it immediately played. Now, for those of you at home, just for fun, I'll reveal what this player searched for and got into their hand. It's the Butcher of Malakir. And their thinking is, like, nobody else has a creature on the board yet. They're about to have 2 creatures on the board, and one of them makes the opponents sack a creature if one of their creatures dies. And this deck is built around making and dying of creatures. So, I think we're going to be in a good place there. And now we are moving on to turn 3, the first multi-draw, multi-land turn for our 1 seed. How's it going to go here? Drawing. That's a good card. We are right there. We're right there. Closing in on all we need. So we're going to play this Forest, and we're going to tap 3 and cast a Gyre Engineer. And we'll pass. Very close, very close. Oh, I didn't draw the second card. I am so silly. Okay, so, sorry, this player, again, we have another card to draw. And another land to play, so hold on now. Hold on now. This player is actually going to drop a tropical island as their second land for turn. You may recognize this as not a tropical island, because it's foil, and it has a different picture, and it has flavor text that isn't on a tropical island. So I do own a tropical island. It is technically a collector's edition. I can't play it in tournaments, but whoop-de-doo, this is Commander, and I'm playing against myself, for heaven's sakes. So since I do own a handful of dual lands, I made some sleeve altar copies of them. I'll do a quick little plug for that methodology. So if you notice here, it's actually a Simic Guildgate foily, and then I painted on this sleeve with some of that old school Tropical Island and other dual land kind of patterning to cover up the unwanted text of "this comes into play tapped." And I also painted over the name area and a little bit on here to give it the full information. It is, in fact, a forest island that taps for blue or green. Okay, so that comes in untapped. Now, I need to consider if I still want to play that Gyre Engineer. Luckily, in a game where I'm playing all against myself anyway, I'm not giving any information away by oops and taking it back when I make a mistake. The goal, though, is, of course, to always be improving and reducing those mistakes so that gameplay is smooth and fun and easy to follow for all. Alright, I've got 4 mana. I just don't quite have what it takes. But you know what I can do? I can go 1, 2. Instead of casting the Gyre Engineer, I'm going to cast my commander, Kinnan, Bonder Prodigy. And while I'm casting that, I will cast Double Major, which copies target creature spell I control, except it isn't legendary if the spell is legendary, which then gives me 2 Kinnan Bonder Prodigies. I should have a copy token around here somewhere, but I don't see it. So I will just denote that I have 2 Kinnan Bonder Prodigies on the board with this die. I'll put it up there. Alright. Anybody have anything to say about the fact that I have 2 commanders on the board? Because I'm gonna wreck some stuff up next turn. Maybe. Potentially. We'll see. Alright. Past turn. I think I should have maybe played the Gyre Engineer and then done that the next turn. But we'll figure it out when it's time. Okay, turn 4. Omnath finally reaping the benefits of playing that Rites of Flourishing so long ago. Drawing a second card. Right, that's good. Okay. So, I will play an Arid Mesa. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 7, 1. Okay. I do not have an additional land to play right now. I really want to get my commander on the board, but I don't have 4 different colors of mana yet. So I need to make that happen. I'm going to pay 1 life. Going to 39. And tap and sack the Arid Mesa and go hunting for probably the Rogran Triome. I feel like that's probably my best land to get with that. Or I want to get something that comes in untapped so I can just cast Omnath right now. So, scrap that, what I was saying. I'm going to grab... Okay, look at my hand. I need more of that, plenty of that. Okay, so, yeah. I'm going to grab this Taiga. Same story as the tropical island you saw a moment ago. I have, actually very much the same story. I have a collector's Taiga. Again, not tournament legal. In the other box. And so I've made some proxies. So that multiple decks can utilize that one really expensive card. I used to have 4 Taigas, all revised. I used to have 4 Badlands all revised, 4 Tundras, 4 Volcanic Islands. Let's see, I didn't have 4 Savannas, and I didn't have 4 Scrublands. I think I had 4 of everything else. And I sold them all when they were worth about 30 to 40 bucks a piece. I probably got less than $30 for most of my dual lands as individual cards. So that was a bummer when, 5 years later... 5? Well, okay. So 7 or 8 years later, they, tripled. And then, since then, they've quadrupled or whatever, or, doubled, tripled some more. So, yeah, anyway. It is what it is. I quit the game for various reasons. I'm back in it because it is such a great game. Okay. So, I got a Taiga with that because it's a mountain, and Arid Mesa can get you a mountain, so that works. And then we're going to go white, blue, red, and green, and bring out our commander. Omnath, Locus of Creation. When he enters the battlefield, I draw a card. I don't think any responses. No responses. Nothing's happening out there. Okay. Now, I have played one land this turn, and I'm allowed to play an additional land this turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So I'm going to play this Rejuvenating Springs. Ding. These are great. I really appreciate that Commander has a dual land that doesn't cost over $150 for the cheapest possible copy. I guess over $200 for the cheapest possible copy, and you can pick these up for like $6 maybe even less. Some certain ones. I opened several of these in packs. I think they extra printed this one compared to some of the others. I'm not sure why or how, and I could be mistaken. They could be printed just as many times as all the other lands from this cycle in Commander Legends, but I opened like 6 of these and only 2, maybe 3 of any of the others. So, yeah. Go figure. Alright, so that's on the board now, and I have something to think about. I'm going to go ahead and tap the Rejuvenating Springs. Oh, I gained 4 life. I go up to 43. Where's that bucket of dice? It's not a bucket, it's a dragon, but it works like a bucket. I'm going to just put this extra die over here to denote 3 more life. It's on my life total. And, okay, so that was all to cast this 3 visits, which allows me to go looking for a forest card and putting it onto the battlefield. And when that happens, I get 4 mana, 1 of each of this deck's colors from Omnath, which will allow me to hardcast, not mutate, but hardcast Parcel Beast. I will pass turn while I go looking for that forest. So I pass turn, but that land triggers Field of the Dead, and I get a 2/2 zombie into play, which is really nice with that card that I don't actually know exists coming. But it's just nice in general. Making a lot of tokens is how this player hopes to win. It's one of their win cons. Alright, that's turn 4, baby. Moving on. Might have to take a pause for childcare purposes. Okay. Turn 4. Drawing 2, playing 2. Draw 2, play 2. We're not playing Flux, but it feels like it a little bit, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Yes, sir. Okay. We're going to play this Underground Sea. You're getting to see a lot of my painted sleeve work this game. Helps when you have 2 4-color decks on the board. That's that, and then... Okay, not bad, not bad. We need to get some stuff on the board here. Play this Twilight Mire as my second land for turn. Helps me diversify if I don't have what I'm looking for. We're going to tap Savage Lands for a red. 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to cast Purphoros, God of the Forge. This is actually a win con for this deck, because it is not a creature until I have a devotion of 5 in red, which is pretty hard for this deck to achieve. It's honestly not really a goal. This Purphoros is really in here because of that static ability. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Purphoros deals 2 damage to each opponent. So again, I've mentioned that this deck kind of makes tokens, and it can turn them all into the same stuff, like zombies and saprolings, and then just sack, boom, boom, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, we're going to hopefully make lots and lots of tokens, and Purphoros will just shoot everybody down. That is all I have for this turn. And yeah, pass turn. Hey, Jasper. Alright, turn 4. Over here. Athriel's got a passage. Drawing. 2. Getting really fortunate draws. Really quite incredible draws. We'll play a Mortuary Mire. Comes into play tapped, and I will put the Ornithopter from my graveyard on top of my deck. Then I will pay 1/2 with the Soul Ring. 3, 4 with 1 swamp and 1 plains to cast Tashar, Ancestor's Apostle. And then I might have maybe messed that up. I should have probably actually wait. I'm not going to cast Tashar. I'm going to cast 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to tap out all my manas, and I'm going to cast the Butcher of Malakir. 5/4 flyer. Whenever it or another creature I control dies, each opponent sacks a creature. And then, because I have plenty of mana, I'm going to go ahead and sack my Commander Sphere to draw a card, because I know what that card is, and it's a creature, Ornithopter, and I'm going to play it immediately, because it costs nothing. And now, I have a creature I can throw out as a blocker if somebody gets somebody big in the Ornithopter, that when it dies, the Butcher will make something else die. And also, if somebody casts something that, like, is a minor board wipe, or, like, just your opponent sacks a creature, I have a creature I can sack that isn't Butcher or Sidisi. Which Sidisi isn't as big a deal, but I can use Sidisi for offense. And I'm going to say that Omnath is looking the scariest. I mean, yeah, you've got your commander out, but it's only a 2/2, and you got 2 of them, sure, but, like, you don't have any non-lands, anything. So, yeah, I'm coming after Omnath with a 4/6 Death Touch in Sidisi. Plus, Omnath has gained life already, so it's key to know. Omnath says I'm just going to take that 4, going down to 39. Been here already. 39's not that bad. Okay. Passing turn. Going to turn 4 for Bonder. Let's see what Kinnan can do. 2 Kinnans. 2 cards. 1. Well, that's good. 2. Funky. Alright. We're going to play this Yavimaya Coast land. Then we will tap it and these 2 to play the Gyre Engineer. Which, you know, makes 4 mana. If I tap it, but I can't tap it yet. So I have 2 mana left. And I think I'm going to go ahead and tap these 2, a blue and a green. Oh, I never showed the Yavimaya Coast that I put into play. And I never re-showed this from before. And I'm going to cast a Growth Spiral. That's in Japanese, but I can say, I can interpret the Japanese for this. It says, draw a card. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. And I'll put that forest into play. Alright. Well, there's plenty of defense on the board, except for over there. So I'm going to attack with my actual commander at the multi-typal person over there. You're going to take 2, and it's commander damage. Alright, going to 38. Moving on. Back to Omnath at the beginning. Turn 5. Untapping. Drawing 2. Just a moment. Tapping 2, 3, 4. I think there are monsters not in this game that are coming to attack us. I might have to pause. Tapping for 4, including 2 white, to bring in the Emeria Angel. It's a 3/3 flyer. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying. So I will then play this land, Stirring Wildwood. Comes into play tapped. It makes me a zombie with Field of the Dead, and it makes me a bird with Emeria Angel. And now you're starting to see me lose my mind. Oh, yeah, it's just a reflection. I thought it was a hair. There's the bird token. Caw. And another zombie. Ba-boom. That land coming into play additionally gains me 4 life. I move back to 43. And now I'm going to tap the Field of the Dead and tap the Parcel Beast to look at the top card of my library. If it is a land card, I can put it onto the battlefield, and it is, so I will. And that tells me to scry one. I will leave that as it is. That gives me it gives me 4 mana and a bird and a zombie. This bird's shiny. Alright, well, we've got 1 untapped and 2, or not, like 1 no summoning sickness and 2 zombies with summoning sickness. Alright, and 4 mana tells me, I could do that, but that'd be kind of wasteful, that I should cast this Valakut Exploration. It's an enchantment. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. It doesn't say to get rid of it at the end of the turn. Oh, wait, there's more. At the beginning of your end step, if there are cards exiled with Valakut Exploration, put them into their owner's graveyard. Then Valakut Exploration deals that much damage to each opponent. Oh-ho. So I could drop... If I could get a way to drop a bunch of lands, I could deal a bunch of damage by not playing those cards, theoretically. Okay. I have taken some damage, but you have blockers. You don't have blockers. You have blockers. I'm going to attack Bond for Glory with my 2/2 zombie and Omnath. I'm not playing around. You scare me. Okay. Kinnan says, I probably should scare you. I am going to just take 6 damage. Going to 34. Omnath is tracking that commander damage at you. You're not going to deal commander damage to kill them, but we know it's 2. Okay. That's turn 5 for Omnath. I just did a... Okay, we'll edit that out. We're going to move on. Turn 5. Rotating around the table. Don't forget to draw 2, play 2. Draw 2. I will put this Guiltleaf Palace onto the battlefield, and it requires the revelation of a creature that is an elf. And they all are. I did that on purpose. Now it's untapped. Then I will play an additional land this turn. It'll be a forest. And let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And bring out both of my commanders. Bublump. Bublump. And they're entering the battlefield. Hits everybody for 2 each. And there you go. So that's 4 damage to each player. And we're passing the turn. Our 1 seed is down to 30 life. Omnath holding strong at 39. Athreos 36. Multitypal 38. We're on turn 5. Halfway around the board. Drawing an additional card. Okay, playing 2 lands, a Plains, and a Caves of Quelos. Alright, now. Very good, very good. Yes, very good, very good. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. 9 mana. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm casting a Blight Mound. Attacking pests you control get +1/+0 and have menace. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token with, when this creature dies, you gain 1 life. You're starting to figure it out yet? I've got 3 mana left, including a black, for a Bastion of Remembrance. When it enters, I create a 1/1 white human soldier. I couldn't find any human soldiers amongst my tokens, but I found lots of soldiers. I probably just haven't looked hard enough. I'll check in a minute. So I get that token. Quick update on board states here. This is Athreos' board state. Oh yeah, he's gonna bring out the commander. Colorless, black, white. Athreos, first cast of the commander. We're in a really good position here, I feel like. We got your Bonder, Kinnan Bonder Prodigy. Really close to going infinite on the mana. Only needs 1 or 2 cards to do it. Omnath. Look at all those lands and tokens and stuff. Multi-tribal. Probably the weakest showing of everyone right now. Although, I don't know, it's actually kind of close between them and the 1 seed. Okay. What am I going to do here? I need to attack somebody. Omnath has blockers galore. You don't have too many. You have a Death Touch blocker. But if my stuff dies, it's actually good for me. So I will attack you with Sidisi 4/6 Death Touch on the ground. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, okay, this is a creature. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna do though for now. Okay, 4 damage. Or I could kill it, but then the other stuff will have to die and whatnot. Yeah, I'm just gonna take 4. Alright. Athreos dishing it out. But can they take it? We'll see what happens. Turn 5. For our 1 seed. Will they go infinite now? Will it be the end of the game? Nobody knows yet. Yeah. Gonna draw 2. I can play up to 2 lands. We'll put this land down here. Okay. Alright, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. I got. Oh yeah, this taps for 4. That's good. That's good. It would do that. That would be good. It's also not necessary. That's right. Okay. So... yeah. We're going to tap it for 4. And we're going to say... 1, 2, 3, 4... that we have a green left. And we'll put a Penance Aura on it. Any... objections? Objection. I mean, I object. Well, let's see. Omnath says, hell no. 1, 2. I'm going to counter that spell unless you pay 2. Well, I've got 2 right here, so it's not a problem. Actually, I have 1 left over. I only have to tap 1 to pay that 2, because I already had 1. Yeah, okay. So there's that. So the quench was an attempt to stop infinite mana production. Anything happening from multi-typal, they have no instance in their hand. Only 1 mana available. They have nothing. Athreos has no instance in hand. No tap abilities other than Tormod's Crypt. I will Tormod's Crypt you. So your stuff's in exile now. That was in the graveyard. Okay. But I have infinite mana. Yes. You do. Are we going to play this out? Well, should we do it for the fans? I mean, we probably should. So... I will tap this for a blue, this island here. It's untapped. Tap it for a blue. Use Penance Aura to untap the Gyre Engineer, which then I can tap for 4 mana, because I have 2 copies of my commander out. And then one of the 4 being blue, I can untap it. So we'll just keep doing that until I have, I don't know, 100,000 mana. And we'll go ahead and we'll play a Nyxbloom Ancient, which makes even more mana. And then we'll play an Abundance, just so we can. And then... ooh, that's kind of fun. Then we're gonna cast Genesis Storm, and Genesis Storm gets copied one time. So we reveal. Oh, we get a Commander Sphere. Enters the battlefield, and then we do it again, and we get a land. Wait, is it land or non-land? Non-land. Okay, and then we get a Locket. So we get 2 more mana rocks. And the other cards go on the bottom in a random order. I don't know, it doesn't matter. This person has gone infinite and they're gonna just wreck. So, next, they are going to play... Progenitor Mimic, copying the Sidisi Undead Vizier, sacrificing the copy of Kinnan. Here's the Progenitor Mimic. Using the exploitability. And then that means they can go looking for any card in the deck. And we will pick up... We're going for the Staff of Domination, because with infinite mana, I can simply draw through my deck until I get to Laboratory Maniac, cast it, with it on the board, I draw out the remainder of my deck, and that is game. Well, that's turn 5, ladies and gentlemen, and the game is over. We finished game 1, and let's see. We'll take stock of life totals and board states to kind of determine rankings. Obviously, Kinnan won, so they are almost undoubtedly advancing to the next round because they have a victory, and they're likely to do it again. Okay, so then we look at Omnath's board state. Let's just say Kinnan hadn't just gone off. Omnath's in a pretty good position. They're getting an extra card whenever they play a land that they can cast. They have access to top cards as well with the Parcel Beast. When a land comes in, any one land coming in, they're making multiple tokens here and here. On this next turn, they were going to get another token generator with landfall and a planeswalker that could make things pretty awesome, especially when you consider that this is in their hand, potentially getting a few more lands on that turn. So things are looking really strong for Omnath. In absence of Kinnan going infinite on turn 5, they're in a good position. Coming over here and looking at multi-typal, they picked a kind of weak starting hand, 6 lands and 1 creature, this one, which is Graveyard Hate primarily. But they're in a position now where they can copy anything on the board, so they could also Demonic Tutor by copying the Vizier, potentially. What would they be drawing on this turn? A land, ooh, and a Course of Recruiter. So what's fun here is, you know, they could Demonic Tutor to get the Maskwood Nexus, making everything all the creatures, and then they would start generating a lot of tokens. But it's a couple turns away of like really getting going. So yeah, and they're also at the lowest life total of everybody on the board except for the player that just went infinite. Yeah, tricky to say, but not a great showing. And then you have Athreos here, who is like just a couple of cards away actually, Altar of Dementia is all it would take to basically go infinite with this Tashar in hand. Let's see, what are they drawing? Deadly Rollick. They could get rid of one thing, but a little too late. If they could have drawn that sooner, they could have exiled the Gyre Engineer in response to the Penance Aura cast, and given everybody at least one more turn. But as it is, we made it to turn 5, and this deck drew itself out with Labman on the board to win. Congratulations, round 1 going to Kinnan, Bonder, Prodigy. The 1 seed, definitely not an upset there. No surprises in terms of the winner for round 1. All right, thanks for joining me for this edition of Commander Solo. With any luck, my production value will go up, as well as just, my experience and interesting stuff happening here. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.